Lunch at Cape Town in the third one-day international between India and South Africa. Welcome to ESPN Cricket for Match Day. India producing a much more improved performance with the ball. And for the first time since the first innings at the Cape Town Test at this very venue in the Test series, they have bowled out South Africa, dismissing them for 287. And also, perhaps not coincidentally, the first time since then that Rassie van der Dussen actually has been dismissed by the Indian bowlers. Now, joining me to reflect on that first innings for this particular match are Daryll Cullinan and Sanjay Manjrekar. Welcome, gentlemen. I'll come first to you, Daryll, I suppose. This is a question that we'll circle back to at the end of this show, but do you think South Africa have posted enough here?
I think it's very competitive. I think they would have taken somewhere close to 300. As it turned out, it's been a very good batting pitch. But I think the true nature of it will be really when India get to bat, because the cock made it look easy. Is it in fact that easy or isn't it? But you've got to be thinking as a side to bat next that 250 is definitely reachable. That extra bit is going to require a bit of brilliance. And India have enough in that top four to do that.
Yeah, we'll talk about the South African batting performance in detail. But Sanjay, I suppose from an Indian perspective, they'll go in with a slight bounce in their step, because at one stage when that fourth wicket partnership, something about these fourth wicket partnerships right through this tour that have bothered the Indian bowlers, it looked like they were headed for at least in excess of 300, maybe even something like 330 or 340.
The only thing that changed a little bit, and in the end, you could see that pan out, and the advantage that India had was the effect of Deepak Chahar getting those two wickets. 3 for 70 was a good place to be, and I know they've been magnificent, these two guys, and they may have, I agree with Daryll, they may have made this pitch look a lot easier, but the effect of 3 for 70 was the moment these two guys got out, it allowed some of the Indian bowlers to come back, and this is certainly a much more improved bowling performance from India, because first couple of one days they just got 3 wickets, 4 wickets, and this time 10. So that's a good start.
Well, we'll talk about van der Dussen as well, but Daryll, just speaking about de Kock and particularly how he went along in this series and in this match, just looked absolutely effortless. Is it a clarity of thought which has come perhaps from that break that he's had, of course, also becoming a father? Maybe that has just added a little bit of clarity in his the way he goes about his batting.
Well, he was brilliant, let's be honest. And when he's playing like that, in that sort of mood, it's difficult to think of anybody else who could match him. Perhaps Rohit on his day. But yes, that was my one question, was how is he now going to come into this one-day series with having, as we know, put Test cricket behind him? But if he comes and he plays with this attitude, can you sense today that he was keen to do well? He wanted to go big. He defended first time in a long time with a beautiful straight bat. I saw that, I thought, hang on, he's done a bit of work on his game. But he was absolutely magnificent. You know, you used the word effortless. It came to mind for me as well. And he brought out the whole range of them today. And he toyed with the bowlers. And the very few that can do it. There was no disrespect to the Indian bowlers, but they tried everything. But when that man plays like that, you know what you think, Sanjay, but shades of Lara there and some of those follow-throughs and placement was quite brilliant.
True.
Yeah, Sanjay, just about that partnership, let's begin with de Kock and then also elaborate a little bit about van der Dussen and what he's done really well in this tour, it seems, is to negate both spin and pace quite effectively.
Yeah, Daryll, you're right. Deban, talking about these two batters, they are the ones who've made the pitch look a lot easy. And I'm with you, Daryll. I mean, he's looked exceptional. He was close to that 100 around the 22nd over. Eventually got it much later, but he was in a position to get 100 in the 22nd and 23rd over. Shows the kind of easiness with which he bats. The shot against Jayant, the other, where he hit a straight six, almost from the crease of a good ball, tells you he is in a different zone at the moment. Nice demeanor, very calm. And yes, clarity of thought is there, as you mentioned, but the skills as well, top class. Van der Dussen, really impressed. If you remember the first 100 that he got in that first one day, there were a lot of sweep shots that Chahal had to contend with. But this particular innings, I don't think he played a single sweep shot against Chahal. So he has this ability to dominate the same bowler through different ways, which tells you a lot about the ability that this man has. Looking at some numbers, that's ESPN Cricket for Stats gave me, he scored 31% of the runs Chahal has conceded in the series. So you've got to feel for Chahal that he's had this, brilliance of van der Dussen to contend with. and the next highest is Quinton de Kock, 20% of the runs. So watching the partnership today and how India looked much better bowling unit once these two guys were gone tells you about the impact that these two have made.
One final word about the overall batting performance from you, Daryl. We've seen Aiden Markram right through this tour have a few issues. Today seemed to be getting off to a good start, but then got off to what looked like a very soft dismissal. So, what exactly is going wrong with him? Is it more of his mind space right now?
Well, yeah, he kind of falls into what I see quite a lot of now is the guys, you don't always have to get a boundary in the aerial route. Now, if you take Van der Dussen, just to use him as an example, he gets a lot of his runs on the ground. And there's this tendency for Markram to go big. He could easily have played that on the ground. And I wonder if that's first and foremost something he could think about. But he's not really there at the moment, is he? And I won't be surprised if South Africa do consider now where next for him. He was opening, he's now down at 3. But you can only hope in time that he himself finds a better way and method. In the second one-day international, he got a chance to get a nice little not out, tried desperately to get out, playing big shots when the game was won and sealed. So I think the only guy that can go away and ever works with him is to reassess his game. But, with the likes of Van der Dussen, I thought Pavuma looked very good again and found himself run out some. That was a brilliant piece of fielding by KO. I mean, it was serious class. But that middle order seems nicely set, and that needs Markram. It needs a number 3. Van der Dussen, the way that he's playing, you got Miller to follow. Suddenly now that middle order looks good. And I think against the slow bowlers, looking a bit further ahead in terms of the World Cup, that's a key area that you need to tie up.
Sanjay, one thing about the Indian performance, which we have been talking about on ESPN Cricinfo, is a bit more energy on the field, and we got to see it today. And perhaps down to the new recruits that they had, we saw Deepak Chahar bowling quite well with the new ball. Jayant Yadav bowled better than his figures suggest, none for 53. And even Prasidh Krishna right at the end picking up a few wickets, not daunted by the fact that he was taken to a bit by the set batters earlier.
I'm not a big supporter of this energy thing. Poor KL Rahul also had to sort of, clear his position, saying that, there's a lot of energy now in the team and stuff like that. And these are nice words, that people use when the team is not doing too well. There wasn't much energy in the field. When they do well, there was a lot of energy. But I guess what is really important for teams to win matches is first pick the right playing 11. I thought India picked a terrible team in the first couple of one days, a slightly better bowling attack, and you saw the effect immediately. The way Janeman Malan got out, nice, beautiful outswinger from Deepak Chahar that Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is not able to produce anymore. Jayant Yadav looked a better option as a spinner than Ravichandran Ashwin, plus you'll get his batting as well. And Prasidh Krishna is somebody India needs to keep playing, all along. Chahal bowled as well as done the series, got a wicket at an important stage. But just a better playing 11 and slightly different captaincy from KL Rahul going to Shreyas Iyer was a great idea. Eventually, how it panned out is another matter, but at least he was looking at going into areas that he wasn't looking to go. This is a guy who didn't go to an obvious 6 bowling option in Venki Iyer in the first one day, but this time he was able to go to Shreyas and see what he's got. In the end, he bowled 3 overs, which allowed him to not bowl Chahar too much towards the end.
One question which I'll put to both of you, since Daryll also spoke about how set the South African batting order is looking. If you look at the complement of it, the Indian bowling attack, would it be fair to say, Sanjay, that if you're looking ahead to the World Cup, there aren't too many first name options that you can think of who will feature in the Indian 11? Perhaps Jasprit Bumrah. Once he gets fit, maybe Ravindra Jadeja. So, in a sense, from a bowling perspective, there are lots of spots up for grabs, and every one of these bowlers has to take each of these opportunities as well as they can.
Yeah, that's a good point you raise, because you look at the bowling attack and you think, what does this attack need? All it needs is the concept that got India to win a lot of 50-over matches when Kuldeep Yadav and Chahal were together, getting wickets in the middle. And in the end, teams weren't posting 300 plus that the Indian batters would chase down. I'm not saying the same kind of bowlers, but India needs spinners who will be game changers in the middle overs. We'll have to wait and see whether Chahal still has it in him. Kuldeep Yadav is somebody I think India should go to. I don't think Jayant Yadav kinds or even Jadeja for that matter are game changers in the middle. That's what India need. They need guys will get you wickets, 3, 4 wickets in the middle, and completely change the course of the match, making it easier for the seam bowlers who are always under the pump, bowling in the death. Needs somebody close to Bumrah as a death over specialist. I like Chahar, and great that KL Rahul bowled him so many overs with the new ball, because that is where he gets you wickets today. He got a couple, and that's how India was able to stay in the game.
Daryl, well as South Africa have played, has this been a surprise for you that on, on two pitches before this in Boland Park, which were quite conducive for spin, and even today at Cape Town, it was spinning a bit. The Indian spinners haven't been able to make as much of an impression, or is it more down to how well the South African batters have played them?
I think a bit of both. I think South Africa have upset their lengths, particularly Van der Dussen. As we know, he's had a good series with his ability to sweep the ball. I mean, de Kock has always looked comfortable against slow bowling. It's never been an issue for him. But yes, the ability to spin the ball, but be able to offer that other ball, that surprise ball, just to keep the batters not too aggressive or too overconfident. And if I remember Kuldeep, that was one of his strengths. The guys in the previous tour were struggling to pick him up. And because I think today that's the conventional bowler. The players today, they're so good with the sweeps both ways that you need that something extra special in that middle period. And for South Africa, hopefully they found it in Shamsi. You can be consistent against all players on all surfaces. But that is an area which I would have anticipated India would have really have put South Africa under pressure, which has not been the case. So finding the right sort of guys, no doubt. But I like the look of the attack today. If the likes of Yadav can, he's better with a bat than the likes of Ashwin, then I'm sorry to say, it's time for Ashwin perhaps to move aside. But it still seems to me a bit of a search in trying to find the right sort of combinations. But credit to South Africa. I don't think India bowled badly. I'll say that again. But I thought South Africa, key partnership, 144, right in that middle period. And that's what sets up these big 250 plus scores.
I want to make
Sanjay,
a quick point just
yeah.
watching Shreyas Iyer bowl today. It was nice that, that idea was thought of. Maybe Rahul Dravid had something to do with it. But what's lacking and what's interesting about this particular Indian outfit is the batters that they have in the team. And I'm not just talking about this squad. In the last 1 or 2 years, none of them chip in with 3-4 overs of bowling, especially on dry turning pitches like we had in the first couple of one days. If you remember 1983, there was Mohinder Ramanath, Sandeep Patil in the team as pure batters, but chipped in with some overs, and that proved to be precious. 92 Pakistan, Ijaz Ahmed, Amir Sohail chipped in with a lot of bowling. 96 Sri Lanka winning the World Cup. You had the likes of Arvind De Silva in the team as a formidable pure batter, but could still bowl 6-7 overs of good off spin. That's got to be the quest for India with their 50 overs team. If they can't find an obvious 6 bowling option, if they can't find wicket takers in the middle, then ensure that you've got pure batters who walk into the team on that one discipline but can chip in with some bowling. 2011, Yuvraj Singh and Suresh Raina for Dhoni. So maybe that is another path to go down on for India.
Absolutely. The last world champions, when the World Cup was last played in the subcontinent, had those top order batters who could also bowl. So just looking ahead to the chase, Sanjay, I was about to come to saying that, I enjoy making you jog your memory a little bit. So 288 is very similar to the target, I believe, or almost identical to the target which was set in Delhi in 1991. The very first series between India and South Africa, the third match, you scored a century. Under lights, South Africa chased it down to get their first ODI win. So looking at that as a reflection, is it possible here for India? Because this looks like this is within their reach, but they'll have to bat really well.
Well, you've gone back in time, and the interesting thing until then, Deban, with Indian cricket was that any time when Indian batting had a couple of hundreds in 50 overs cricket, they lost the game. Until then, when 2 batters got hundreds in one innings, India went on to lose the game, to suggest that the pitch was really good for batting. I expect India to win this. I think this is a fantastic pitch. That's not going to change too much. So maybe they're slightly below par, the host, and that's why I back India to win this.
Daryl, one player who would have made a difference surely on this pitch, Shamsi not being there, that should help the Indians, because not only does he normally keep a lid on proceedings, but he's that kind of attacking wrist spinner who always picks up wickets in the middle overs.
Well, I think the Indian batting lineup will be pleased that he's not in the lineup today. Although he's got wickets at crucial times, but you've never sensed that India really battled with them. The key for them today, if they're going to chase this down, they've got to establish a partnership. Guys, that top four someone has to be in, come over 40, 4-5 down. The tail is more strengthened today. So it's very much on. I don't think it's a given, but I think a lot will depend on that top four.
So let me not ask each of you for the result, but one by one, starting with Sanjay and then going to Daryl. One key player each for India and South Africa, according to you, in this chase.
I'm going to pick Rishabh Pant, and I'm going to be worried if I was Keshav Maharaj being the lone spinner.
I feel that, that's a good one. You've caught me a little bit of sides here, but I think the way that Maharaj bowls, I'm sure India will go for him. If they're in and they in, then it's a bit tough. But he's got the option of Dwayne Pretorius. Keep an eye on him, because he's a very good wicket-to-wicket bowler with a very clever change of pace. And I think that's where India were better today. They'd really look to change their pace more often.
Right, so 288 for India to cap off this tour with the way that they began in Centurion. Let's hope that we can see an exciting chase. We'll see you on the other side of this on ESPN Cricket for Match Day.
Thank you.